Okay, let us start the lecture. Good morning, everyone. So in today's class, we'll repeat what we did in the last class and then extend that idea, whatever we did it in that class for the other linear PDE and linear PDE with constant coefficients. And then we will extend that idea for the quasi-linear PDE also. Okay, so that is called method of characteristics. So that's what we are going to do now. So let us do that. So the first order linear PDE with constant coefficients, what we have done is that this is the first order linear PDE. So A of x comma y, u of x, ux plus b of x comma y, uy plus c of x comma y into u equal to 0 only I am considering, or you can consider f of x comma y, okay, which is the general first order linear PDE. Okay, so where omega belongs to r cube. Okay, then we are trying to find a solution for this one. That means I'm trying to find what is v of x comma y. Okay, so the c of x comma y, I call it as the integral surface or solution surface, which we have seen. So in general, I'm just going to solve. So right now, I'm just going to solve some particular cases called ux plus buy equal to 0, which is a cohomogeneous first order linear PDE, which I'm going to solve it. Okay, so here I'm just assuming this condition a square plus b square not equal to 0. I will just tell you why this condition is required at the later stage. Okay, because that is the one which is going to drive us for giving a non-trivial solutions. Okay, so for this one, what I did was, so I explained the last class. So this problem can be written as a comma b dot ux comma uy, which can be written as a comma b dot del u, or I can just denote this equal to 0, or what I can denote v is equal to a comma b, then this can be written as v dot del u equal to 0. Okay, so this one I can still write as dvu equal to 0, which is the directional derivative. So dv equal to 0 means what is the meaning of this one? So you need to find a u such that along the vector v it should be 0. Okay, so along the direction of v, the directional derivative of u should be 0. So dv of u equal to 0 means what you are going to denote the directional derivative u in the direction of vector v you are going to denote. Okay, so that it is expecting it is 0. That means what you are going to get is that u is constant along the direction of the vector 0. Okay, so that is the solution must be constant in the direction of vector v equal to v equal to a comma b. That is the one which we are talking about. Okay, so that one we have again obtained. So how do we obtain? So this is the characteristic lines we used to say. Okay, so how do we obtain? So for example, v equal to a comma b is there. So if it is constant along this, if it should be dv equal to 0, that means it is constant along this directions. That means it is going to be constant over here. So that means what I'm going to get, I'm going to find the equation of this straight line. So the equation of this straight line can be written as x minus x1 divided by a, okay, equal to y minus y1 by b. This is nothing but my equation of the straight line, which is passing through this vector or the point x1 comma y1 and parallel to the vector v. Okay, this is the parallel to the vector. So I'm just describing this equation. But in general, if you are taking any x1 comma y1, okay, so on parallel to this vector v equal to a comma b and passing through the point, you can write it in this way. So after simplification, this is going to become like bx minus ay equal to 0, ay equal to c. Okay, some constant you are going to get. So any line parallel to this vector b, a comma b, v equal to a comma b, has the equation of this form, px minus ay equal to c. So if you take any of this straight line equation, okay, which is parallel to this v vector, parallel to this vector v, okay, so it is going to be of this form px minus ay equal to c. That means you are going to get a family of straight lines you are going to get. Okay, not only one straight line, you are going to get a family of straight line you are going to get. Since c is an arbitrary constant here, what you are going to get is that you are going to get a family of straight lines here. So these are all called characteristic lines. Okay, so this idea only we are going to extend it further for the method called method of characteristics. Okay, so there is a method of characteristics which we are going to apply. We are going to apply it for the general linear PDE as well as for we will extend this idea for the general quasi-linear PDE also. So that's what we are going to do. So this is called characteristic lines. Okay, these lines are called characteristic lines. Family of characteristic lines will come. Okay, so since u of x comma y, this u of x comma y is constant in the direction of v, what we are going to get is that this is along the lines bx equal to a comma y. What you are going to get is that you are going to get your function, okay, f is going to be, so see, this is constant, okay, so this is going to constant, so u is equal to some f of c is going to come, but what is c? C is nothing but my p of x, bx minus ay is going to come. So therefore this is going to be f of bx minus ay is going to come. Let us see that in the next slide also how it is going to come. So this one I have already explained how it is going to be. If you just trace back here, you will get the same equation. So ux, if you find ux is going to become like f dash into bx minus ay into b, uy is nothing but f dash into bx minus ay into minus a. Okay, so you multiply this with a, multiply this with b, so this is going to become like ba, this is going to become like ab, so sum it up, then you are going to get aux plus buy equal to 0. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get the original results. Now we are going to extend this idea. Okay, so if any questions on this one, let me know. We'll extend this idea further. I will not erase this one, okay, because we are going to use that. This also I'm not going to erase it. We are going to extend this idea further. Okay. Okay, what are we going to do now is that, see what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to find the directional derivative, right? Directional derivative which I'm constant is right there, right? Instead of solving that problem, what I'm trying to solve is that I'm just trying to solve this problem into an ODE problem and then solve the problem in the ODE domain and then come back to the PD domain. That's what I'm going to do. So in this concept, what is the main underlying concept is as follows. Okay, what you are going to do is that you are going to convert this problem. Okay, this problem, method of characteristics in this problem, what you are trying to do is that this is a PDE problem. Okay, this PDE problem I'm converting to ODE problem. Okay, I'm converting into ODE problem and then solve the problem settings in the, I will have some settings in the ODE or system of ODE I will be getting. So those system of ODEs I will be solving, and then once the solution is found for this ODE, automatically I will find the solution for this PD. That is the underlying idea. Okay, so in order to do that, what I'm trying to do is that, what we are trying to do is that we have to eliminate one of the derivative. One of the derivative I have to eliminate. Okay, either ux would be becoming 0 or uy should become vanish. Okay, so such a way I have to decide. So what we have is that directional derivative. Okay, the directional derivative is vanishing in the along the vector b equal to a comma b. It is vanishing. B equal to a comma b. The directional derivative, okay, because dvu equal to 0 for this equation. Okay, so that we have. So what we are trying to do is that since the directional derivative vanishes in the direction of b equal to a comma b, what we are going to do is that we are trying to transform the coordinate, okay, complete coordinate system. I'm trying to transform the complete coordinate system into an axis parallel to. So what is this one? This is x, right? This is x and this is y, right? So now what I'm trying to do is that I'm just trying to transform this problem into, I'm just trying to transform it into this one. Okay, this is going to be y and this is going to be x, like this. So instead I'm just going to denote something like chi and eta. Okay, chi and eta I'm going to denote. So I'm just trying to formulate. Okay, so instead of solving this problem in this coordinate system, what I'm trying to solve is that I'm trying to solve this problem in the transformed coordinate system. Okay, I'm just going to rotate it, or somehow I have to find it. Okay, I have to transform that. So you know the transformation in linear algebra, you might have studied how to transform that from one coordinate system or one vector space to another vector space, etc. So I'm trying to transform this coordinate system, okay, in such a way that this is transformed exactly to this way. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. That. So I'm going to assume that chi comma eta, okay, chi comma eta is the new coordinate system. Okay, new coordinate system. So what is the condition for this coordinate system is that, okay, this is going to be my new coordinate system, transformed coordinate system. What is the, so which is going to be like this, okay. So chi equal to chi of x comma y, eta equal to eta of x comma y, okay. So in this coordinate system, what is the condition is that, okay, what I have is that chi comma eta should satisfy this condition. Okay, what is it going to have? What we have is that, so if I take this one, okay, x comma y comma a comma b, I'm just taking the dot product. Okay, here we'll do the general settings in the later case. So here what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to take a how am I going to find that? Because this should be perpendicular. Okay, this should be perpendicular. Since this is a perpendicular one, this also should be satisfying the orthogonality property should be there. So in that case, what I'm trying to do is that I'm just trying to take x comma y comma a comma b, because b is known to me. I'm just trying to find x comma y comma a comma b. That means it will be transformed over here, and then x comma y comma. What is the perpendicular vector for this one? The perpendicular vector is nothing but, what is the perpendicular vector for a comma b? What is the perpendicular vector for a comma b? So v is a comma b. Then what is the v per for this one? Perpendicular vector. Anyone? Anyone? What is the perpendicular vector for this one? Is anybody there? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. What is the perpendicular vector for this one? V equal to a comma b. So what I want to do is that I got to find this new coordinate system, new transformed coordinate system I got to find. So for this one, if I take x comma y comma a comma b, I'm going to get this coordinate. Okay, this is going to be coming. Okay, then this one I got to find. This one I got to find. So in this case, I got to find the perpendicular to this vector. Okay, this would be perpendicular. So if it is chi, so x comma y comma a comma b, that is going to be the parallel one I'm going to get, and x comma y comma this one I got to find, that is going to be the perpendicular one. So what is the perpendicular vector to v equal to a comma b? You might have studied in the school, right? V equal to a comma b, what is the perpendicular vector? Anyone? What is the perpendicular? So suppose v equal to a comma b is given. What is the perpendicular vector for a comma b? Just tell me one vector. Anyone? How do you find? Okay, I'll pick up someone if no one is answering. Dasna? What? Yeah, what is the perpendicular vector to a comma b? How do you find? See, if two vectors are perpendicular, what is the conditions required? What is the condition required for two vectors to be perpendicular?
Cross product should be 0.
Dot product should be 0. So a comma b dot some x comma y should be 0, right? Okay.
Yes.
So that means what I'm going to get, ax plus by equal to 0 should come. Okay. Now what is this x and y? You can choose in such a way that this is going to come. There are plenty of things are going to come. At least one you can say.
Origin 0, 0.
Okay. Origin 0, 0. Okay. Anything else?
Minus b comma a.
Minus b comma a. Okay. So this is going to become like minus ba, and this is going to become like ab. So this is going to become 0. So I'm going to denote this one minus b comma a. Okay, which we have already described in the previous one, because the idea I'm going to use it that from the previous one only. I'm just trying to extend the idea. So in the previous one we have used that already. We have found this one bx minus ay equal to c, which is the line parallel to the vector v equal to has the equation, which means I'm going to get the same kind of thing, minus b comma a. So what you are going to get is, sorry, b comma minus a I'm going to use it, not minus b comma a. That is also correct only. Okay, minus b comma a is also correct only. I am choosing particularly this b comma minus a. Okay, so that what I'm going to get is that I'm going to get this equation, which is going to become like ax plus by. This is going to become like ax plus by, and this is going to become like bx minus ay. Okay, so ax plus by and bx minus ay is going to come. So therefore, what I'm going to get, I'm going to get my chi. Chi is nothing but ax plus by. Eta is nothing but bx minus ay. I'm going to choose this. The problem is not yet solved. Okay. Now what we need to do is that this is my original equation. Okay, this is my original equation. Now what I need to do is that I have to transform this into the new coordinate system. Okay, I got to transform this into a new coordinate system. Let me transform. Because my problem setting is I'm no longer sitting in the xy plane. I'm sitting in the chi comma eta plane. Okay, I'm sitting in the chi comma eta plane. Therefore, this problem should also be converted into that chi comma eta plane. For this, what is the transformation we have to do is that, suppose I have to transform this one, what you need to do is that you have to calculate what is your ux in this coordinate system. You got to calculate. Okay, so how do we calculate ux? See here, chi comma eta is ax plus by. Okay, therefore from this one, suppose if I want to find what is my x comma a, that also I can find it. Okay, so I can calculate what is my x comma y. This can be written as x of chi comma eta. Okay, and comma y of chi comma eta, I can write it. Okay, so x can be, because if you solve this problem, once again, what you are going to get is that you are going to get x is a function of chi comma eta, y is a function of chi comma eta, you can get it. Okay, so therefore you got to use the chain rule now. Okay, because if I put ux, u is the function of x comma y. Okay, but what is this one? This is a function of x is a function of chi comma eta, and y is a function of chi comma eta. Okay, therefore this one, what I have to do is that, so u is this one, u is nothing but, okay, u is equal to u of x comma y, u of x comma chi comma eta, u of y comma chi comma eta. Therefore ux is going to become like this. Okay, so therefore what I'm going to do, I'm just trying to do this one. Okay, because u is a function of this one, so I'm just trying to write this one, u chi of chi x. Okay, and then plus u eta of eta x is going to come. Okay, because now my new coordinate system is u is, I'm just going to write this. Once I write this one, this is going to become like u of chi comma eta is going to come. Okay, u was originally function of x comma y because I was in this coordinate system. Now x chi comma eta is a new coordinate system. Therefore x comma y can be written as x of chi comma eta, y of chi comma eta I can write. So after simplification, what you are going to get is that you are going to get u of chi comma eta is going to come. Now if I want to find ux, okay, in order to find ux, I'm taking the derivative here. So u chi is going to come, but chi is once again function of x comma y. Okay, that's what we have asking. Chi is a function of x comma y, eta is a function of x comma y. So u chi x, u similarly second one. So eta is also a function of x comma y. Therefore u eta x is going to come. Okay. Any doubts on this one? If you have any doubts, let me know. Okay, this is the one which you are going to use it everywhere. We will be solving the same kind of setup in the heat equation, Laplace equation, everywhere we will be solving this kind of only. I repeat again, u is in the originally in the xy coordinate system. Okay, that time I transformed to a new coordinate system called chi equal to chi of x comma y and eta equal to eta of x comma y by following the setting of the perpendicular. Okay, and then I have obtained this one. Now after simplification, this is going to become like u of chi comma eta only. Okay, because this is a function of x is again function of x comma chi comma eta, y is a function of chi comma eta. Therefore this is going to be u of chi comma eta. Now in order to find ux, you have to take, because you are right now sitting in the chi comma eta plane. Okay, chi comma eta plane, I have to take the derivative of x. So in that case, this is going to become like ux equal to u chi is a function of x. Therefore chain rule, u chi x, and u eta is function of x again. So u eta x. Same way here, this is going to become like u chi y. Okay, and u eta y is going to come. Now what is chi x from here? Okay, what is chi x from here? What is chi x? Chi x is a, because ax plus by. So I'm differentiating with respect to x only. So ax is going to come. What is chi y? Chi y is going to become like b. Okay. Similarly, eta x. Eta x. Yeah, chi y is going to become like b. Now what is eta x? Eta x is nothing but b, and eta y is nothing but minus a. Okay. Now substitute over here. What you are going to get? U chi x is going to become like a u chi. Okay, u eta x is b. So therefore this is going to become like p u eta equal to u chi y is b. So b u eta u chi plus minus a u eta. Okay. Now you substitute over here a ux plus b uy equal to 0. Okay, so in that case, what is it going to become? Okay, So let me write it over here. So a ux, therefore, so I just multiply here a and multiply here b, then automatically, so here everywhere I am multiplying a, okay, here multiplying by b. So this is going to become like a square plus ab into u eta, and this is going to become like ab minus not b, right, b square minus ab u chi is going to come, u eta is going to come. Okay. Okay, so these two are same, ab u eta minus ab u eta. So this is going to vanish. So what you are going to get is that you are going to get a square plus b square into u chi equal to 0, because aux plus buy equal to 0. Therefore, if I sum it up, a square plus b square u chi equal to 0. Okay, so therefore there are two possibilities: either a square plus b square equal to 0 is going to come, or u chi equal to 0 is going to come. But what we assume it is that in the beginning itself we assume that a square plus b square not equal to 0. This is the condition we have given already. A square plus b square not equal to 0. Therefore, what you are going to get, a square plus b square is not equal to 0, which implies what I'm going to get? I'm going to get u chi equal to 0. So that means what I did was, using this transformed coordinate system, this PDE problem I converted into ODE problem, because my second derivative coefficients vanished. Okay, it is no longer there. That means I converted it into a ODE problem, kind of ODE problem. U chi equal to 0 I have converted. Okay, it is very simple problem I have converted. Okay, or I just what is the idea is that I just vanished one of the derivative. One of the derivative completely vanished in this idea. Okay, one of the derivative, if it vanishes, then you can solve this problem very simple. So u chi equal to 0 is there. Okay, if u chi equal to 0, then what is the solution? What is the solution? Because now what is my transform coefficient? U equal to u of chi comma eta. Okay, so u chi equal to 0 means what is the answer is going to come? It is going to become like u equal to some f of whatever is not here, that is going to come. That is going to be eta. Okay, but what is eta? Beta is nothing but b of bx minus ay. So I can simply substitute f u equal to bx minus ay. Okay, so that's what we did earlier also. Here also we did the same thing. U equal to u of x comma equal to bx minus ay, where I have given the geometrical description, but completely mathematical, using the coordinate transformation of the coordinate system. You will get this one, u equal to f of bx minus ay. I just give couple of minutes, just observe it. Any doubts, let me know, because this is the idea. We are going to extend it further. Okay. Yeah.
Chi is function of x comma y. Chi and eta are functions of x comma y. Then how x comma y is again functions of chi and eta, means we are again transforming it.
No, I'm not transforming. So this is the okay. So this is a good question actually. So this is the idea. We are going to extend it further. Further thing. In analysis course, you might have studied one theorem called inverse mapping theorem, right? Have you studied that theorem called inverse mapping theorem? There's a theorem called inverse mapping theorem. So that is the idea behind that. Okay, the mathematical idea is that one. I'm just explaining without that concept. We'll explain it later. What is the idea is that, see, chi equal to what I want to do is that I want to find the relations between this coordinate system and this coordinate system. So that is the relation, right? So that relation is nothing but chi equal to ax plus by and eta equal to bx minus ay. Now same way, suppose I am sitting in this coordinate system chi comma eta. Can I find the inverse relations for this one? Is it possible?
Yes.
Yeah, it is possible only because this a square plus b square not equal to 0. That is due to the inverse mapping theorem. We will get it. Okay, that is the reason I'm saying this one without stating the theorem. I'm just saying that. But in the later cases, I will say that. Okay, in the once the quasi-linear PDE or the theorem which we explained, at that case, this is not easy straightforward. We need the inverse mapping theorem. If the inverse mapping theorem conditions are satisfied, then only this is possible. So in that case, you can do that. Okay, I'm not explaining that over here, but in the theorem part, I will explain that. This condition, because of this, it will come. Okay, otherwise it will not come. There also this condition is required. The Jacobian, you will calculate the Jacobian. That Jacobian is going to become this one.
Okay.
That's a good question. Any other question? Any questions? Okay. So we'll extend this idea further now. Okay. So this method is called method of characteristic. Okay. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to transform the problem from one coordinate system to another coordinate system in such a way that one of the things is going to vanish and then we are going to get it. So in general, this kind of technique, whatever we are applying here, the new coordinate system, and then calculate the corresponding thing and then solve it in this way, this is called method of characteristic. Okay. So there is an extended version of this one, so which we'll see it in the next slide. So this method is called method of characteristics, and this coordinate system chi equal to chi of x comma y and eta equal to eta of x comma y, which is called characteristic coordinates. Okay, which is called characteristic coordinate, because that is going to characterize this problem in such a way that we are trying to solve it into a simple problem and then we solve it. So this is called characteristic coordinate. Okay, these coordinates are called characteristic coordinates. So you remember in our first class we took this problem u is equal to e power x, and then we solve this problem. U equal to e power x plus y, I think some problem we have taken. Okay, and then we calculated what is ux uy and then we solved it. So in general, I asked this question in the very first class or second class, I think. Ux plus uy equal to 0. Does it imply that the u equal to e power x plus y is it true or not? Like that, I have asked one question, I think. So now it is time for that to solve using this one also, because ux plus uy equal to 0. That means in this problem, a is 1 and b is 1. Okay. Therefore, in that class, I might have mentioned that f of x minus y. In general, if you take f of x minus y also, you are going to get this answer. Okay. I think the earlier one I took, the forward problem which I took was, I think, this one, u equal to e power x minus y. And then I asked the question, we formulated this equation, ux plus uy equal to 0. Then I formulated. Then I reversely I asked whether ux plus uy equal to 0, does it imply u equal to e power x minus y? Okay, this question I have asked earlier. And then we said it is not true, and then we derived this one. So in general, f of x minus y is going to come. Same thing is going to come here, because b is 1, a is 1, so f of x minus y is going to come. Okay, whatever we did in the last in that class, same thing is going to come over here. Okay, next one. So let us try to solve the problem in the first order quasi-linear PDEs. How do we solve? So of course we need to solve this problem like ax comma y. So I can solve this problem actually. First I got to solve this. Some of the books used to solve this one, but I'm straight away taking this one. I will tell you the reason. I'm straight away taking the quasi-linear PDE. I will tell you the reason why. See, in some of the textbooks, what they used to do is that first they will solve this problem. Aux plus buy equal to 0, they will solve. Okay, and then they will solve aux plus buy equal to c, they will solve. Okay, and then they will solve a of x comma y. So these are all constant. Okay, a, b, c are constant here. Then they will take auxy plus ux plus b of x comma y into uy equal to c of x comma y. This problem they will solve. Okay, and then they will go for this one. But what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to solve straight away this problem. A of x comma y ux plus b of x comma y uy equal to c of x comma y comma u. So this is the sequence they used to follow. Some used to follow that quasi-linear PDE, semi-linear PDE also in between they will solve it. But straight away I'm solving the quasi-linear PDE, because if I solve the quasi-linear PDE, automatically the semi-linear PDE will be solved because it is a subset of that one. And this can be also solved because in that case u is going to be not there. So this also can be solved and this also can be solved. So I solve this problem using this idea. I'm straight away going to solve this problem. Okay, I'm not going to solve these two problems, because once I solve this problem, automatically these two can be solved, or whatever is in between also can be solved. Okay, so I'm going to solve this problem now. This is called quasi-linear PDE. Okay, this is called quasi-linear PDE. In this quasi-linear PDE, I'm going to solve it. Okay, first order quasi-linear PDE. So in this case, what I'm going to get is that I'm going to obtain that idea whatever I did in the last one. Okay, the same idea I'm going to obtain. So here the conditions are a comma b comma c belongs to c1 of omega. Means I'm expecting a classical solution. Okay, at least a classical solution I expect. Now what I'm going to do, omega naught. Okay, let us denote omega naught, which is denoting the projection of this omega. Okay, projection of omega in the xy plane. Okay, I'm just going to denote this. ABC belongs to C1 of omega. Where what is omega? Omega is a omega is there. Okay, omega is the domain for this ABC because A is a function of x comma y comma u is there. Okay, x comma y comma u is there. So I got to take omega naught, means I'm just going to take a projection of this x comma y comma u in the xy plane. I'm going to project it. Okay, so once again, if we obtain the solution for this one, that is going to become like a integral surface for this one. Okay, this is called, again I call it as integral surface, although we have the three equations or something. It is called integral surface. Okay, this Euclidean space x comma y comma u is called integral surface. Okay, this is called the integral surface. Okay, this is x comma y comma u. Okay, so I'm just going to obtain u equal to e of x comma y in this plane, x comma y comma u plane. Okay, x comma y comma Euclidean space. This is the Euclidean space. Okay, so that is called integral surface. So the definition for the integral surface for this problem is as follows. So you take any d subset of omega naught. Okay, where omega naught is the projection of omega in the xy plane. Okay, projection of omega in the xy plane. Then u is a function from d to r. Okay, u is a function from d to r, which is a solution of this equation ax comma y comma u ux plus bx comma y comma u uy, which is the solution of this solution to this equation. Then there will be a surface represented by this one. Okay, surface, because u of x comma y is there. Okay, u is a function from d to r. D is a subset of r square. Okay, because omega naught is in the xy plane, therefore d is a subset of r square. Okay, therefore what you are going to get is that you are going to get a surface, okay, represented by u equal to u of x comma y. Where it is going to be represented? It is going to be represented in the xyu plane. Sorry, xyu Euclidean space. Okay, it is going to be represented in this xyu Euclidean space. So that is called integral surface corresponding to the given solution u. Okay, so that is the integral surface. Now the question is that how are we going to derive this integral surface? Okay, once again, what I will do is that I will transform this one into this format: x equal to x of s, y equal to y of s. Like this, I will transform. Then automatically this will become like both x and y are determined by some parameter s. Therefore, this is going to become like a PDE to ODE problem. Okay, automatically this will become like a ODE problem, and then I will solve it in the ODE setup, and then I will come back to the PDE problem. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So what we are going to do, as I mentioned, so what we are trying to do is that a normal to this surface, the xyu is there, right? I got to find a normal to this surface. The same idea what I have explained here, the coordinate system I got transferred, right? Same idea here. I got to find a normal to the surface. Okay, I got to find, so x comma y comma u is there. I got to find, so this is determined by some surface, integral surface. Now what is the normal to this surface? I got to find. Okay, normal to the surface at the point. I'm just trying to fix a point like p of x comma y comma u, some particular point I'm fixing. Okay, p of x comma y comma u, I have to fix it. Now what is the normal to this surface is going to be that the normal to the surface is as follows: ux comma uy comma minus 1. This is the normal to the surface. Okay, so with respect to x, this is going to come, with respect to y, this is going to come, and with respect to u, this is going to become like minus 1. So ux uy minus 1 is going to be the normal to the surface. Okay, the same idea what I have in the last one. So ux uy minus 1 is going to be the normal to the surface at this point. Okay, v equal to, so for this equation, okay, for this one, v equal to a x comma y, b x comma y, c u x comma y. You can verify that. Okay, whether it is normal or not, you can verify that. How do you verify that? So you can take this one, a of x comma y. Actually, here you can put u also. Okay, it is not a problem. A of x comma y ux. Okay, so if I take this problem, okay, I'm just talking about this problem. Okay, now same idea I can use it for the x comma y comma u also. I can use it. Okay, a of x comma y comma ux plus b of x comma y into uy. Okay, and minus is there, so I multiply this one. This is going to become like, so here c is there, sorry, u of x, c of x comma y should be there. Okay, so if I apply it over here, that is going to become like minus c of x comma y. That is not u, should be c. Okay, so we will get this one, c of x comma y equal to 0 is going to come. Okay, now apply the same idea over here. Okay, that should be c, not u. The a comma b comma c should be that, not u. Okay, so you will get that answer for this one, c of x comma y, c of x comma y. Same way you can do this for this problem. So in this case, instead of a of x, a comma x comma y, b comma x comma y, c comma x comma y, what you can do is that you can put this as follows. Okay, I'll just erase it and then write it. So this is the this is my coordinate system: a of x comma y comma u, b of x comma y comma u, plus c of x comma y comma u. Okay, if this is my coordinate system, okay, this is my vector v. What we did in the last one, the method of characteristic, we got to take a normal derivative with this one. Okay, we got to find the normal derivative for the directional derivative for this one in such a way that in this direction it should vanish. So in this case, if you just take the same way, what you are going to get, you just multiply here a into ux plus b into uy plus plus c into minus 1. That should become 0. That becomes 0 automatically by this one. Okay, so you need to find in such a way that this is going to be satisfied. Okay, these two are going to become like the dot product is going to become 0, like such a u you got to find. Okay, that is the idea. So therefore you are going to get the same thing. Okay, so this is going to be obtained over here. That's what we are going to do. Now how are we going to find this one? Okay, this v is called as the characteristic vector for this equation 6. Okay, this v is called the characteristic equation for this vector 6. How are we going to find the characteristic curve? Let us see that. As I mentioned, what we need to do, you got to convert that problem into ODE problem and then solve it. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to define a characteristic curve as follows: gamma equal to, okay, gamma, which is nothing but x equal to x of s, y equal to y of s, and u equal to u of s, where s belongs to some interval. Okay, some interval I'm going to take it. Okay, so s belongs to I. So this is my characteristic curve. Okay, so in this case, what is the characteristic system is going to come? What you are going to get is that you are going to get dx by ds equal to a of dx by ds you are going to find, and dy by ds you are going to find, and du by ds you are going to find. Okay, that's what you are going to do. Okay, so what is the corresponding system we are going to find? So this is going to satisfy this one. A of dx by ds is going to become like, which is the coefficient of this ux we are going to take it. Okay, that is called a of x comma y comma u. Okay, and dy by dx is going to be the coefficient of this one, p of x comma y comma u, and du by ds is going to become like c of x comma y comma u. Of course, this is the same thing we did it in the method of characteristic. What we did was, instead of this one, we transformed it into u equal to eta x comma beta y, etc. Almost same kind of settings only we did it. Okay, so there we did it like this, right? X minus x1 by a equal to b y minus y1 by b. This is same as this one, dx by ds equal to a, and dy by db, dy by ds equal to b. Same thing. Because x minus x1 is some difference we are taking, y minus y1 we are taking some difference. Now you can take that infinitesimal things, you can take it. So therefore you are going to get dx by ds, dy by ds equal to b is going to come. Or I can write it as, yeah, same thing. Or simply what they will write it as dx by a. This one I can write it as, okay, this one I can write as, if I take it like a infinitesimal one, I can write it this way. Okay, same thing I'm writing here. They will write this format, okay, or this format. Both are same. Okay, so that's what we are doing here also. What we did was, so for this problem, remember, for this problem, aux plus buy equal to 0. What we did was the same thing we did. Okay, so there we applied this one, x minus x1 by a equal to y minus y1 by b. because this x and y are arbitrary. X1 and y1 are some arbitrary points they are taking. So this one I can take very infinitesimal. So I can write it as dx by a equal to dy by b. I can write it. Okay. Same thing we are doing here. Okay. So whatever was the coefficient, I'm just applying here. So this problem I can convert it in this format. Dx by ds equal to a of x comma y comma u, dy by ds equal to b of x comma y comma u, du by ds equal to c of x comma y comma u. Okay, so the same thing. Okay, same thing. So that means what I got is that I got a system of equations now. Same thing here also. We got a system of equation and then we solved it. Okay, same thing we are doing here. Dx by ds equal to a of x comma y comma u, dy by ds equal to b of x comma y comma u, du by ds equal to c of x comma y comma u. So this is called the characteristic system, or in other words, as I mentioned here, what I can write for this problem for the quasi-linear PDE, whatever I am explaining here, that is applicable for the linear PDE also. So the same thing I can write as dx by a of x comma y comma u equal to dy by b of x comma y comma u equal to du by c of x comma y comma u. If you take any of the Indian author book, okay, they will not explain these details. They simply jump into this equation. So some equation is given. Okay, they will straight away, if you take some of the engineering books or some of the Indian author books, what they will do is that they will straight away take this equation. They will take, suppose this problem is given, either this problem ax comma y comma ux plus bx comma y comma uy equal to c of x comma y, or you take the quasi-linear PDE. So what they will do is that simply they will write dx by a by dx by a of x comma y comma u equal to dy by b of x comma y comma u and du by c of x comma y comma u, or mostly they will stick to z, not even they will go for u, because they have that imagination like z is going to be the solution surface. Okay, so they will take this one dx by dy by du, like dz by, like this they will be taking, and then they will do that some fraction techniques, etc., and then they will solve it. Okay, that is the thing. You can see it in, if you take any of the Indian author book, from this equation straight away they will come to this equation. This equation is not straight away from this one. That is the solution technique. But how did we arrive this one is that using the method of characteristics. So this is the underlying principle for that. Okay, how do we obtain that? Okay, so this system is called autonomous ODE. Okay, this is called the autonomous ODEs. So for this problem, since this is a problem in ODE problem, this is a ODE problem. So then what we need to do, we got to find the solutions in the ODE. That means we got to find the, we got to apply the uniqueness, existence and uniqueness theorem. We got to apply existence and uniqueness theorem in ODE. We got to apply. Okay, existence and uniqueness theorem of ODEs we got to apply through the point. So you take any point p of x naught comma y naught comma u naught in the omega. So in that point, due to that, suppose this all the conditions of this existence of uniqueness is satisfied, then through that point exactly one curve, one characteristic curve is going to be obtained for this comma. Suppose if I take p of x naught comma y naught comma u naught, then you are going to find only one characteristic curve, only one characteristic curve you are going to get because of the existence of uniqueness theorem of the ODE problem. Okay, so through each point you are going to get only one characteristic curve. So for each point, if I just change the point, etc., then automatically what you are going to get is that you are going to get a family of characteristic curve you are going to get. So therefore, the solution of this system, okay, the solution of this seventh problem, okay, this problem, dx by r, this problem, okay, this is the autonomous ODE. So the solution of this characteristic system, this is called characteristic system, is called the characteristic curves of the quasi-linear equation, which is this equation. Okay, characteristic equation. Okay, so this is the underlying idea for the method of characteristics for the general quasi-linear PDEs. So this characteristic equations, okay, this characteristic equation are also called as Monge's equation. Okay, in some textbook they used to mention like Monge's equation. This is the Monge's equation, and the corresponding curve, which is called Monge's curve. Okay, the solution of this equation. The solution of this equation, the two parameter family of the curves in the xy u space are called Monge curves. The solution of this surface which you are getting is called Monge. So the curve which you are getting is called Monge curve. Okay. The projection of this Monge curves on the xy plane. This is in the xy u plane. Okay, this is in the xy u space, Euclidean space xy u. Now projection of this on the projection of these Mange curves into a 2-parameter family curve. Okay, so this is xyu, which I want to project it into the xy plane. Then that is called characteristic curve. Okay, this is not called characteristic curve. Okay, the once you obtain the solution for this one, that is not characteristic curve. This is called Mange's curve. If you transform it into or project it into the xy plane, that is called characteristic curves. And the direction, this ABC is there, right? This ABC is called the Mange's direction. Okay, the characteristic direction ABC is called the Mange's direction. These are all some basic definitions for Mange's. If you want to go for some higher studies on PDE, these are all the basic topics for that. Okay, what is the Mange curve? So some interview question they will be asking, what is Mange curve? What is characteristic equation? All these things they will be asking. Okay. Now let us come to theorem. I'll state the theorem. Suppose using this method you obtained a characteristic curve. Okay, so gamma naught, which is nothing but x equal to x naught of s, y equal to y naught of s, u equal to u naught of s. This is some characteristic curve. Okay, this is the characteristic curve which I have, where s belongs to I. Okay. And this intersects the integral surface. It is intersecting the intersects the integral surface. Integral surface, yes. Okay, integral surface, yes. At the point, so it is going to intersect at the point P naught of x naught comma y naught comma u naught. It is intersecting at this point, okay, which belongs to omega. Then what this theorem is asserting is that then gamma naught subset of s. This gamma naught is going to be the subset of this integral surface. Okay, it is going to be subset of integral surface. So what does it mean? It means that u naught of s is going to become like u of x naught of s comma y naught of s, where s belongs to. So what is this theorem asserting is that, so you have a integral surface. Okay, now gamma naught is a characteristic curve which is intersecting this surface. Okay, so that means what you are going to get is that it intersects the surface. Then what it is saying is that, suppose this is the integral surface, this is going to be this characteristic curve is a subset of this one. It is not only intersecting. Suppose if I assume that this is going to intersect something like this. Okay, if it is something like this one, it is not going to happen. What is it going to happen is that this is going to be completely lying in the surface one. Gamma naught is completely in the subset. This is my s. Okay, this is the integral surface. If I take any characteristic curve that is intersecting with this surface, okay, take any surface and intersect this characteristic curve is going to intersect with that, then this theorem is going to assert that then that characteristic curve is going to be completely lying in that surface. Gamma naught is subset of s means that complete curve is going to be lying in that surface only. It is not going to be just a intersection. Okay, not only just one point or something. It is going to be completely lying on that surface. Okay, that's what it is being. Gamma naught subset of s. So what does it implies in terms of the equation is that, I mean the solution is that, so if you take u naught is going to be the solution of this one, then this u naught of x can be determined by v of x naught of s comma y naught of s. So this point is going to be applied. Okay, that's what it is meaning. So let us see the proof of this one. Very simple. So I'm just going to take so with this I'll stop. So u of s equal to, okay, I'm just defining some function. U of x equal to u naught of s minus u of x naught comma x naught of s comma y naught of s. So what I need to prove is that, so I assume all this condition, then I need to prove that u naught of s equal to u of x naught of s comma y naught of s. I got to prove. Now I got taken u of s equal to u naught of s minus u of x naught of s comma y naught of s. Therefore, if I prove that u of s equal to 0, okay, if I prove u of s equal to 0, automatically that is going to imply that this condition is going to be satisfied. This is the one I got to prove. Okay, to prove is this one. This I got to prove. Okay, so if I prove u of s equal to 0, if this implies 0, then automatically this is going to be implied. So what I got to claim is that I got to claim u of s equal to 0. That's what I got to claim. Okay. Now what is it given? Since p of x naught comma y naught comma u naught, okay, belongs to s. Okay, this is a point in s, and also it is a point in gamma. Okay, because it is intersecting, right? This p naught of x comma y naught comma is intersecting at this point. So therefore, this is going to belongs to this p naught is going to belongs to both S as well as in gamma naught. Okay, this is the intersection of these two. So that means what I'm going to get, I'm going to obtain a S naught. Okay, there exists a S naught. There exists a S naught in I. Okay, because this is the gamma naught I have. Okay, therefore there exists a S naught in I such that what I'm going to get, I'm going to have x naught equal to x naught of S, y naught equal to y naught of S, and u naught equal to u naught of S. U naught equal to u naught of S. That's what I'm going to get. Okay. Now if I substitute over here, what I'm going to have, okay, I'm going to have, so in this case I'm going to have u of S naught is going to become like u of S naught is going to become like u naught of S naught, okay, minus u of x naught S naught, comma y naught S naught is going to come. But what is this u of x naught comma S naught, y naught comma S naught? Again, these are all same, so this is going to become like 0. Okay, these two are same. So and because it is in the gamma naught as well as in the S, so this is going to become like 0. Okay, so this is going to be there. So the condition is that u of S naught is 0. I have a point. U of S naught is going to become 0. Okay. Now what I have this one. So this is the one I have to prove. So what I got, I have, now I got to find what is my du by ds. Okay, so du by ds is going to become like du naught by ds minus this one. So this is going to become like u is a function of x is there. Okay, therefore it is going to become like, so ux into dx naught by ds, okay, minus uy into dy naught by ds. Okay, so I take the derivatives here with respect to s I am taking. Okay, therefore you are going to get u with respect to x naught is there, so ux is going to be that dx naught by ds, uy dy naught ds is going to come. Okay, what is this one? From this previous one, from this one, du by ds is nothing but x comma y comma u, dy by ds is nothing but b of x comma y comma u, dx by ds is a of x comma y comma u. So that's what I'm going to substitute over here. So this is going to become like c of x naught of s, y naught of s, u naught of s. Okay, minus ux into, this is nothing but a into x naught of s, y naught of s, u naught of s, okay, minus uy into b of x naught of s, y naught of s, and u naught of s. Okay, so I'm just writing it. Writing it. Okay, now what is u of s? Okay, u naught of s, from this one, u naught of s can be written as, from this equation. Okay, from this equation, u naught of s can be written as u of s plus u of s. I can write it. Okay, so this u of x naught of s comma y naught of s, I'm writing it as u of s simply. Okay, u of s I'm writing. So this is going to become like u of s plus u naught of s is nothing but u of s plus capital U of s plus small u of s. Therefore, this is going to become like c of x naught of s, y naught of s, comma u plus u is going to come. Okay, everywhere s is there, bracket s is there. Okay, similarly this is minus ux into a into x comma y comma u plus u is going to come. Okay, minus b into uy into b into x comma y comma u plus u is going to be. So therefore this is going to become like, see here everything is fixed. Okay, x naught is fixed, y naught is fixed. Only this is going to be, everything is going to be like x naught is a function of s, y naught is a function of s, u plus u is also a function of s. So this one I can simply write as some p of s comma u, I can write it. Okay, f of s comma u is going to be there. Okay, so that is the things I'm going to get it here. F of s comma u, because u is going to be the function of us comma u is going to be the function of u naught and ux, etc. is that f of s comma u is going to be there. So what I got is that I got a differential equation now, du by ds equal to f of s comma u, last one. Okay, so what you are going to get is that you got this one, and then there is a condition here, comma u of s naught equal to u naught is there. Sorry, u of s naught equal to 0 is there. This the initial condition is given. Since a, b, c are continuously differentiable, okay, and this surface u of x comma y is going to be continuously differentiable. Therefore, what you are going to get is that this f is, suppose this f is locally Lipschitz function with respect to u. Then what you are going to get is that since u of s not equal to 0, what you are going to get is that u equal to, you apply these conditions over here. What you are going to get is that by using the existence of uniqueness theorem, you are going to get u of s is identically 0. You are going to get, okay, because u of s not equal to 0. If you solve this problem, you are going to get u of s equal to completely 0. Okay, so therefore, what is the answer you are going to get? You are going to get u is identically 0. That means u is identically 0 means u of s equal to u naught comma u naught minus u of x naught comma y naught is going to come. Okay, so the proof follows immediately. That's all. So with this, I will stop the lecture. Any questions on this theorem? Just go through that. Okay, if any questions on this theorem's proof, just let me know by next class. Okay, because it's already time. If you have any questions, let me know by next class. Yeah, thank you. Just go through this proof once again. Okay, if any questions, just ask me on Friday.